Good morning, students. Today we are going to discuss the topic speed control methods of three-phase induction motor. So these are the methods of speed control applied from stator side of induction motor. So they are by changing the applied voltage, by changing the frequency, by changing the number of stator poles, and the control from rotor side. But we are going to discuss now rotor resistance control by operating two motors in concatenation or cascaded control, VBF control, and slip power recovery scale. So these are the methods of speed control applied to the induction motor from stator side and from the rotor side. So we are going to take one by one. So you know very well the very basic equation of induction motor speed is it is based on the synchronous speed of the motor. That you know the equation of synchronous speed of motor ns is 120 f by p. So these are the parameters you can vary. Okay. So the first method is changing the applied voltage. The problem of changing applied voltage is you need a large change in voltage to make even a small changes in speed. So this large change in voltage will result in large current in the flex density. And if flex density of the motor is disturbed, then if it is increased dangerously, then the motor may enter into saturation region, or if it is decreased, the flex, if it is decreased, then the torque capability of the motor will also be decreased. So to maintain the magnetic circuit conditions at the constant value is essential in operating the induction motor at a good performance level. So this change in applied voltage method is not preferred for controlling the speed of the motor. The second method is changing the applied voltage. Changing the applied frequency. You know the synchronous speed of induction motor is 120 f by p. So by changing the frequency of the synchronous speed will be changed, and you know the speed of the induction motor n is 1 minus s into ns. So if ns is changed, then speed of the motor will also get changed. So by changing the frequency, you can change the speed of the synchronous motor, and thereby you can change the speed of the motor. But the problem is we are obtaining the constant frequency supply only. So to change the frequency, you need some other power electronic devices like inverters or cycloconverters, matrix converters, etc. to change the frequency of the supply. So that will become a tedious process. So controlling the supply frequency is not so easy. So this particular method we cannot apply to any motor unless otherwise the controllers are available. But where you can change the frequencies if the alternator is available with you, so that you can change the turbine speed and hence you can change the supply frequency. Or you can say if the only load you are having to be controlled by the only alternator you are having with you, so that you can change the frequency of the alternator so that the load frequency will also be changed accordingly. So this method of changing frequency is applicable only when the load is the only load to the particular generator. So where you can apply this particular method is in shipping applications, where the ships are not operated by a common grid. So the ship are having their own generator. So they can operate the generator at any speed by changing the prime mover supply, so that the prime mover can be operated at any speed, and hence the alternator can also be operated at any speed. so that the frequency can be changed, so that the motor speed can also be changed. So this particular method is applicable to wherever you can able to change the frequency, or if only particular load is there, like this shipping applications. Okay. This third method is changing the number of stator poles. So you know, again from the equation of synchronous speed of induction motor, it is 120 F by P. So P is the number of stator poles. So the stator poles can be changed only in the design step, not in the operating condition. So in the operation, while the motor is in operation, you cannot change the number of poles. The motor has to be designed to have different set of poles. Suppose you are having a motor designed with the stator poles to have two set of poles, so that you can get two set of synchronous speed, so that you can operate the motor in two discrete speeds, not a continuously variable speed. Say for example, suppose if you are designing a motor with 4 number of poles as well as 6 number of poles, so you can get the speeds, that is synchronous speeds 1500 rpm for 4 number of poles, and for 6 number of poles you can get 1000 rpm as the synchronous speed. So depends upon the value of the operating slip, the motor speed can also be varied, but it is only two discrete step speed you can obtain, but not the variable speed control. So that is the drawback of this particular method. Next method of control is the rotor resistance control. This method is applicable only to the slip ring induction motor or wound rotor induction motor, wherein the rotor circuit itself having the variable resistance connected at the rotor circuit. This particular resistance already we have studied in the starter topic, that this rotor resistance can be initially varied to start the motor, as like your DC motors, DC motors like 2-point starter or 3-point starter or 4-point starter, wherein we are using the external resistance to start the motor by decreasing the high starting current drawn from the source. So the same resistance connected in this rotor circuit can also be used to control the speed of the motor. So you can simply control the rotor resistance so that the speed of the motor can also be controlled. But the drawback of this particular method is, since you are involving the resistance, so this I square or losses or copper losses will be there, so that the efficiency of the motor will get decreased. Also the corresponding heat will be produced in the rotor circuit. So these are all the drawbacks of this particular resistance control method. The next method we are going to study is about the cascaded control or concatenation of two motors. So for this you need two similar motors. The rotor circuit is going to be connected mechanically. Okay. And so this is the setup actually. So this is the three-phase supply you are having. So this is the motor 1 and this is motor 2. So we are going to control the speed of the set. And this is the load connected to the motor. So you know, this is the supply frequency F of this particular motor. This is the stator circuit, and so that the rotor frequency will be F dash. That F dash is equal to S into F. Depends upon the value of the slip, the rotor frequency will be varied. So actually this method is applicable only to slip ring induction motor. So now this is the slip ring, and what will be the rotor circuit frequency is F dash. So F dash is S times of F. So this frequency is very lesser in the rotor circuit. Stator frequency is F, rotor frequency is F dash. So this rotor frequency supply is available in the rotor circuit, and through the slip rings that rotor induced EMF is collected and is going to supply the stator circuit of this motor B. So what is the stator frequency of this particular motor is F dash. The frequency at which the stator circuit of this motor B is supplied is at F dash, but the motor A is F. Okay, and this is the load frequency. Okay, or you can say the rotor induced frequency of this motor B. So that is going to be F double dash. And another thing, you just assume that this motor is having PA number of poles and this motor B is having PB number of poles. Okay. So how can you control this set is, one possible way is you can supply only this particular motor. So this motor will also be operated at the same speed as that of this particular motor because these two are mechanically coupled with each other. So whatever the speed of this motor, A is going to be the speed of the motor and load also. Okay. So if you supply the motor A alone, then the speed of the set is going to be the speed of the motor A. What will be the speed of the motor A? Its NSA, that is the speed of this particular motor A, NSA will be 120 F by PA, wherein this PA is the number of poles in the motor A. It is one way. Or what you can do is you can disconnect this particular supply and you can supply this particular motor B, so that you can get NSB, that is the synchronous speed of this particular motor B is NSB, and that is equal to 120 F by PB, wherein this PB is the number of poles in this motor B. So these two are the conventional ways of supplying one motor with certain frequency. At that particular frequency, this synchronous speed will depends, and so the motor will rotate based upon this particular synchronous speed and the slip of the motor. And the set will also be rotating at the same speed as that of the motor is being supplied with certain frequency. Another way is actually that is the cascaded control. So wherein the speed of the set is going to be NSE, that is the cascaded set speed is going to be, the equation is 120 F by PA plus PB, or you can say it is also minus PB. So PA plus or minus PB. So that means these two can be concatenated either with plus sign or minus sign, so that two more speeds you can obtain. This F is going to be the constant parameter, so you can obtain two more speeds, either with in the denominator it can be PA plus PB or it can be PA minus PB, so that two more set of speed you can obtain. So totally 4 discrete speed you can obtain with this cascaded control. One is based upon NSA, second is based upon NSB, and third and fourth will depends upon this NSC, that is equal to 120 F divided by PA plus or minus PB. So how you can prove this two speeds is what now going to see in detail. You just keep it in mind that NSA is 120 F by PA, NSB is 120 F by PB. And the rotor frequency is F dash, or you can say the stator frequency of motor B is F dash, its rotor frequency, and load frequency is going to be F double dash. You just keep it in mind. Let us prove that equation. So you know N is the actual speed, NSA is the synchronous speed of motor A, and the slip speed is NSA minus N, and so the rotor frequency is S into F. S is NSA minus N by NSA. So S into F is the rotor frequency. So this is the stator frequency of motor B. Okay, actually this is the rotor frequency of motor A, as well as it is also equal to stator frequency of motor B. So now, so you can define now. So now this is also the frequency of EMF applied to the stator of the motor B. Hence the synchronous speed of the motor B will be N dash. Okay. So it will be 120 F dash by PB. PB is the number of poles in that particular motor. So you can say that it is 120. F dash is this particular equation you are substituting. So you are getting this equation. So for at no load condition, you can assume that this F double dash is going to be very less. Already this F dash is very less because it is S times of F. S is usually its range will be 4 to you can say 3 to 5%. So 3 to 5% of, say for example, F is 50 Hertz. So for this 50 Hertz frequency, this F dash will be 5%, and that means very lesser value. So here what is happening, again the frequency is going to be rotor frequency of the second motor, or the load frequency is going to be very lesser, so that you can assume this F dash is going to be, that is again it is 5% of this 5% of 50 hertz, no, very lesser.